Welcome aboard to episode number 161 of the Grunge Bible podcast. And Ethan, a child is born to us today as dark matter has entered the world.
A child is born. Incredible. Yes. We have been gifted with a new album from the likes of Pearl Jam. Doesn't happen that often where we have something new to talk about in this genre, so today's a special day.
Yeah, it really is. This is the first Pearl Jam release that has occurred during the Grunge Bible podcast activity length the last couple of years. We missed Gigaton by a year. Not that there was terribly much to talk about, as I don't think either of us really loved that album. But this one, I had been excited for this one for a while. A lot of the chatter about this album from the guys in the band, people that had heard it, people that were working on it, lended a lot of people to think that this was going to be one of their better efforts in quite a while. And now that we've had it for a few days, we've gotten to digest it. We've gotten to listen to it several times front to back. I'm pretty happy about this. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm excited to chat with you about it today.
Yeah, absolutely. How many times do you think you've listened to it so far, Chris?
Oh man, it came out
3 days?
Friday the 19th. Yeah, in 3 days. On Friday I probably listened like 4 or 5 times front to back. I was just home working and kind of thinking about this episode, so I wanted to get some good listens in. And then this morning I listened to it front to back once more. So I'm probably like 5 or 6 times through the order.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably I listened to it right when it came out, in the morning, fully through yesterday. I'm probably about 2.5, 3 times.
Yeah. I mean,
so
that's
it's still
spot.
new. You know what I mean? It's still, we're trying to react.
Yeah.
Right? We're not trying to respond.
We're not trying to respond quite yet.
Yes, we want to get our initial reactions. Obviously we've thought about it, but we just want to get it out there. This is like first impressions, because I think first impressions are everything. I mean,
absolutely.
It's either you like it or you don't type of thing in a lot of ways. And if you don't like it, usually you don't give it the time for a long until I guess farther down the road you can come back to stuff. But
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, this is episode 161. If you're out there listening, thank you very much. Hopefully this is not your first, but if it is, welcome. And if you've been here for a while, you know that we have a Patreon where you can offer support. So please consider that $2, $5, or $10. Without further ado, I guess let's talk about some dark matter.
Yeah, let's
right?
vault into dark matter. So this is Pearl Jam's 12th studio album. It came out just a few days ago on April 19th, 2024. We've got 11 tracks that we're going to be going through, but just kind of the general thoughts around this. I know the band had been chatting about the fact that they had been working on an album for a while, and then it had come out that Andrew Watt was going to be producing it, so kind of a departure from a lot of the producers that they had used in the past. And it's finally here. They had started releasing some singles earlier in the year with the title track Dark Matter coming out, and then additionally we had Running and then Wreckage as singles. Wreckage was very shortly before the album came out, but now we've got the whole thing. I'm not a big single guy. I like to, I'll check them out a little bit, but I like waiting for the finished product. And now that it's here, I have to say, I like this album a lot, just kind of generally speaking. I think
out of 10?
Out of 10. Oh, it's hard for me to rate.
7.
Yeah, 7.4. 7.2. No, I have to say it's my favorite Pearl Jam album since the Avocado album in 2006. I think it's better than Backspacer, it's better than Lightning Bolt, and it's better than Gigaton. And this is, I think it's the perfect album for the point in time and the point in life where the guys are at. I think it's a really great effort.
Yeah, I think it fits the time and space so much better for them. If you look at, say, Gigaton last time, I think they were trying maybe a little too hard, and they were trying to find something that wasn't as authentic as what we get on this album, and that's why I like it. And everybody said that it was going to be really heavy.
Yes.
And I don't think it's that heavy. I mean,
I don't think so either.
No, it's like rock and roll. Like, I don't know where people are like, yeah, this is like super heavy and drum driven in a lot of ways, and I just didn't hear that a ton. I could be wrong, and maybe I'll go back when I listen to it more. But it just felt like, to me, I like this album as well. And one of the main things that I'll probably talk about today is it feels like they're going into their U2 stage of life, kind of bigger songs that are just like a little bit more, I don't want to say transcendent, but they're, Eddie's vocals are aging. So they're kind of like dealing with that and doing a good job playing around it. The band sounds really good. When they're like the full band is in, it's like really tight and really sounding good. Yeah, very cohesive. Yeah, and they have some really beautiful songs on there. I like the I like the Wreckage. Wreckage is probably my favorite song. I think I know your favorite song because you said it, but which is like one of my favorites. Was Stevie?
Waiting for Stevie.
Waiting for Stevie. Yeah,
absolutely. So, I'm glad you brought up the whole thing where I think it was Stone who had said it was the heaviest Pearl Jam record that they'd done, and a lot of people took that and ran with it. And a lot of the
I was thinking screamo. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I was like,
exactly.
I was thinking heavy.
D out, like learn a thing or two from Kim Kyle, and then hop into the studio there. And it seems like the news cycle around this, as all of the reviews had been coming out in the weeks leading up to the release, they were tooting that horn as well of like, oh, like it's right back to the early days. Like I didn't find any of that, and also like I'm glad I didn't find any of that because for me, Pearl Jam is snake bitten in the sense that they released, two of the greatest albums of their genre back to back in 91 and 93 with 10 and Verses. And since 1993, people have just been yearning for, the completion of that trilogy. And as people grow musically, they're not going to go back to the same places. And I don't think there would be a way for Pearl Jam to create something in that vein that wouldn't feel patronizing to everybody. And the fact that they grow and develop, I mean, these guys are in their late 50s and 60s. I mean, you can't be making music the same way without it being, like I said, patronizing. I think it would be impossible to do that. But I think, like you said, Ed's voice has changed a lot. I'm not going to be gaslit into thinking, all of the people that say he sounds the same as he did in 1993 and 1994. Like, that's just impossible. And that's also a good thing. I think this record, they did an incredible job playing to everybody's strengths. Everything that each member of the band does well, they had their chance to do it well on damn near every single song, which was really refreshing. And it was really exciting to listen to. This is the first time in a while that something's happened in this sphere of grunge and grunge adjacent stuff that I've been really excited about. And my expectations were pretty high. And now that I've listened to it, like I said, 5 or 6 times through, like I'm still excited about it and I'm very grateful for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have some more thoughts that I think we'll get to as we get to those songs about the composition and what I think about them. But before we do, I want to bring up the album art. I really like the album art for this one. I think it reminds me of like I don't know, an Incubus album or something, or something. But it's cool. I really like it. I mean, Dark Matter, I tried to explain it off screen and I'm not even going to attempt again, but Dark Matter is real, the astronomy and all the physics behind all the stuff up there. Like, it's a cool concept to, that they, I don't know how much the album is based around stuff like that, but, there's
very
a lot
Pearl Jammy to kind of zero in on something like this concept, though. I would
say it's a metaphor, right?
It's always a metaphor.
It's always a metaphor, yeah. So take it as you will. I think that the artwork is clean, and I don't know, good artwork is important to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And good packaging. I haven't gotten the vinyl. I think I will pick up a copy of it, and I'd be excited to get my hands on that and see that in person. But Pearl Jam, they do a fantastic job, I think, from a fan experience of really dotting all of the I's and crossing all of the T's when they put something out. And they had a lot of different things going on social media. They had the record store listen throughs, I think last week, a week ahead of the album being released. I think the Tuesday prior to the album coming out, across movie theaters worldwide, they had a screening of the album where you could go and listen to it in theaters with fellow fans. And they had some kind of interactive experiences with some sort of like VR thing going on in a couple of cities. And I think they do a really good job of allowing fans ways to connect with the music even before it's officially released, which I think is really cool. I think that's one thing that, Pearl Jam, I don't think has lost that, that that focus on connecting with the fans and presenting the music to their fans in a way that could be fresh, even though the band has been around for 34 years now.
Yeah, absolutely. Those experiences that you just talked about, the VR and the seeing it in theaters.
Yeah.
If I had access to something like that, and if I had someone to go to it, like you, I would really enjoy something like that.
For sure.
Because it would elevate the album to somewhere that, that the band has envisioned and put together, and obviously they stamped off on it. So
Yeah.
it could be really, really cool. So, but all we got is our in-ears, and our headphones.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
and the car stereo.
With that being said, I'm kind of tired of speaking about this in generalities. What do you say we hop into the songs and kind of discuss these?
I love it. All right. So first track coming off, not the title track. I thought maybe Dark Matter would be first. Well, I guess that's fourth. So Scared of Fear. I guess, what's your initial reaction for the first track on the album?
So I was really anticipating it. I personally love it when the first track of an album isn't a single that I've heard before, just because it adds to that anticipation and the hype that's building up. So I put this on, first and foremost, the first note that I put, I'm a sucker for intros like this on track ones. They have this kind of like, I don't even know, like ethereal, dark matter moving through a black hole type thing going on. And then it almost sounds like somebody's like racking like a cue ball or something, and then the guitar starts. And honestly, this was one of the moments, like right from the jump here, when presumably Stone's rhythm guitar is coming in and Matt comes in, like I got really excited. I was like, it's finally here, this Pearl Jam song, this Pearl Jam album. But Scared of Fear, I think, was a really solid album starter. I love the fact that even like before you get to the bridge in the song, like Mike McCready's back and doing his thing. I think he's aged unbelievably well. I think he's the one guy in the band that above everybody else, he's getting better as time goes on.
Mike McCready easily stuck out on this album for me. He's still like the solos that he has, they jam at the end of the song and he plays over top of it. And like, that's what keeps me coming back for these guys right now. It's the guitar work and he does excellent. And this is solid. It has a good chorus and kind of driving, and it really sets up the album because it's like high energy for, compared to some of the songs on here, and some of them are also just as high energy. So.
Yeah, and something that I think I'll probably chat about as we go on through the album is I love the sequencing of these tracks. I think with, if these are the 11 that they didn't put on the chopping room floor in the studio, these are the 11 they wanted on the album. Like I think it was a perfect sequence, and like they kind of like bring you up at points, keep you there, and then bring you back down and like hit you with a couple of different things and then turn the page pretty quickly. But I think this is a great one. As Pearl Jam fans, you put this song, on as the first track. I think it would make a lot of people excited. It kind of sounds Yieldy to me. Maybe a lot of people that like Yield. I feel like a little bit of Backspacer type stuff going on here too.
I can see them opening an album, opening a show with this one.
Yeah, for sure. And like this is like the sweet spot, I think, for Pearl Jam at this point in their careers. Like stuff like this, you've kind of got like the quicker verses in terms of Ed's vocal delivery, and then the musicianship is just off the charts. I mean, Matt's playing great, and Mike was the star of this first track for me.
Yeah. So moving on to the second song, we have React Respond. So I just want you to do initial reaction to the song, or I can go first if you want.
Yeah, I'll say one thing and then you'll go. So as I was listening the first time through, I was making notes, and as soon as I started this one, the note that I put, I said I could see where people began listening to this right after track one and started shitting themselves and started waxing poetic about Pearl Jam returning to their heaviness. I mean, you have that like killer bass line at the beginning, and then everything just kind of comes in really aggressively. So it was off to a great start. So what are your thoughts on React Respond?
Yeah, this one. So I think this is it's similar to Scared of Fear. And my initial reaction is Eddie is hanging on for dear life in this one. That's what I mean, I'm not saying it's very fast and he has to like keep up. And like when he's like, react, respond, it's a lot. And he does his best. It's really good. I actually like the calls of those two words, like the call words, and
Sure.
how it kind of builds and
quality
stuff.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but for some reason, I think I wrote down, I was like, Eddie's hanging on for dear life in this one.
So
in a good way. I mean, it's still good, but
yeah, absolutely.
it's like his voice is cracking when he's trying to like hang on. I don't know.
It's kind of like employing the element that he's older and just like going balls out and just like, all right, like I'm just going to try to do this. I have to say, I hate the chorus of this song. There's something about the delivery. I just don't think it's well written. Like the melody of the chorus is not, it's my least favorite part of this album for sure.
This chorus?
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely, but with that being said, I'm excited to see how something like this translates live. There's a lot about this record that I'm excited to hear live versions of it, particularly I think the drumming. First listen through, I had a big issue with just how the drums sounded on this album.
Yep.
They just sounded super compressed and just like
muffled.
Yeah,
Yes.
and just I was texting somebody about the album and they hadn't listened to it yet. And I was like, oh, like I really don't like the drumming. And they're like, well, what does it sound like? I was like, the best way I could describe it is like, it sounds like they recorded it the same way that the drums were recorded in the Sweet Victory song from SpongeBob. And like the first listen through, like I was really disappointed with it. And then the second listen through, less so and less so and less so. And it just kind of layers itself in with the rest of the music. But I wish that they had maybe done something different, because this is the first album, I think, where Matt Cameron put to bed all of the detractors that he's had with his work in Pearl Jam, in the sense that, oh, like he was this force in Soundgarden and then he plays so lightly with Pearl Jam and it's just like he's got no attitude to it. And this is the chance that, you know, and he did it. He put everybody to bed, but I just wish it were recorded a little differently.
I couldn't agree more. I thought it sounds like there's carpet inside of each drum, or they're just like, they lay like a big sheet of, you know, a big bed sheet over the top of it. And
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly why they did that. And yeah, React Respond, like the band is just chugging along and they obviously can keep up with each other and play like really fast. And luckily McCready has a solo at the end to bring it all back. That's how a lot of the songs, I was like, thank God McCready's coming in here with the solo.
Yeah. I thought the final chorus of React Respond and then the guitar solo redeemed this song for me.
Right.
Like Ed holds Respond and it just kind of echoes out in the distance, and then Mike comes in with a it's not a long solo, but it hits perfectly. Also, I have to give massive credit to Eddie Vedder for somehow using the word incandescence in his lyrics for this. Like there's a Bob Seger song called Against the Wind, which I'm sure you've heard, and he uses the word unencumbered in it. And I always laugh when musicians somehow include like words that are a mouthful in their lyrics, and like
clairvoyant
really quickly is like incandescence of the essence. I'm like, my God, man, you've got a death wish.
That's funny. Yeah. So this one, it moves into Wreckage, and Wreckage is my favorite song on the album.
It's a daughter jump scare. At the beginning, it sounds like daughter.
That's awesome. A daughter jump scare. Yes. So this is like, this is where I want, this is the Pearl Jam I want to hear right here. Right. This is like it's like Tom Petty. Like it really reminds me of Tom Petty.
Totally.
And the way that kind of the melodies and the rhythm. And I really like it. I actually didn't listen to the single when they released it. So when I was listening to the album and it came on, it was my first listen. And I just thought like there's good harmonies, good background vocals, and it's simple and it's really beautiful. Eddie sounds great.
He really does. I think this one plays to their strengths really well. I wrote, that this song is kind of like the first like safe song on the record, in the sense that like I think they could make music like this, forever, and they could perform music like this forever, and it's great. I think I echo everything that you said, especially, and I wanted to mention it on React Respond, but it's evident on Wreckage as well. I love the harmonies that they're using so far on this record. I think a lot of the harmonies are coming from Matt, and I've always thought Matt has a really, really good voice. Back during the Avocado album, during the song Gone, he provides a lot of harmonies towards the end, and just kind of like secondary vocals. And I've always thought he's had a really good voice, and I'm happy that Pearl Jam has employed it a lot on this record. I mean, there's a lot of harmonies throughout different choruses and bridges and, outros of songs. And I'm just really happy that it's there. I think it just kind of raises the level of the vocal performance, and like, you know, Matt's voice and Stone's voice. I mean, they serve as such great foils for what Eddie's able to do. And it fits really tidily together. And yeah, I like this song a lot.
Yeah. And it has like the pre-chorus where Eddie is like kind of doing some vocal fries and kind of going around. And it reminds me a ton of early stuff. And,
yeah.
And then it goes in this Tom Petty jam that I just love. And
yeah,
born into the wreckage. And it just kind of like repeats and builds. And it's just like a nice kind of like fades to black type of thing that I really enjoyed it.
This is going to be a good one live, I think. I think of this one the same way of like an elderly woman type thing where like it's just a good mood, you know, across the entire arena or stadium or venue. And I could picture like a good sing along towards the end of this where they're just repeating, you know, they're just repeating that part right at the end. So yeah, this is a great track and you know, a fitting one to be a favorite for sure.
Yep. All right. Now we have the title track.
Dark Matter.
So I guess we can go back to, because this one obviously was released month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Say. And so we did have a taste, and this is what we had to base for what the album was going to be. So what was it like listening to the first time 6 weeks ago?
Oh man. So
and has it changed?
It hasn't changed. I'm happy that a lot of the record is not like this song.
Yep.
This was the first red flag that was raised for me in terms of the issue that I had with the drums, and it's right from the beginning of this song.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Pearl Jam fans, this is a welcome gift for them, because I think this is kind of a return to, you know, a lot of the like tight and hard rock and roll music that Pearl Jam makes that people really dig. You know, over the years, Pearl Jam's gotten pretty experimental with some of their tracks, and some of their whole albums have been kind of projects into different sounds. And I think this is kind of like, this checks the box for everybody that just like wants them to be Pearl Jam in 1993. You know, you've kind of got the hard driving drums there. I mean, Mike's great again. And like Ed is like, it's just a rock song, you know? My opinion of it hasn't really changed. I'm glad that I kind of know the place that it has in the album. And at least for me personally, I'm also very glad that there's at least a few songs that I think are much better than this on the record.
Yeah, I totally agree. This one, I'm not surprised that they released it first, because it has an energy to it that they were trying to capture, I think, with this album. And they did it with the song. But like you said, it did, when I first listened to it, I was like, oh boy, here we go again. You know, if this album is full of songs like this, like, I'm probably not going to love it.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, I mean, they're jamming and they're playing, you know, I don't know. It's like I said, playing this rock and roll song, but for some reason, like when it's short and Ed sings like short words and syllables like that, it seems it's not my favorite.
Yeah,
and it's just one
it's
of
like
those
at the
things.
end of the chorus where he's like, "It's someone else's mistake." I think that's what he's singing, and it's just super like kind of,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those songs. I mean, we'll see how it grows, but it's not my favorite.
I think most of these songs are going to be better live, just because of the different twists that the band members are going to be able to put on their parts. And like, I could see like Dark Matter, for example, like Mike's solo at the end, like drawing that one out and kind of jamming for a little bit, or just the different twists that he puts on it. And I'm excited to see how the vocals hold up when these are performed live.
Right.
I think they're going to be fun. And, you know, if there's one thing that Ed's still incredible at, he's able to sing with force and with aggression. And a lot of these songs, I mean, as a singer, it's like sometimes when you're performing live, you make a choice between like, do I hit every note perfectly, or like, do I, hit this hard? And I'm excited for the times when he hits it hard. And I mean, this is going to be one of those songs, obviously, where he has a lot of opportunities to do it.
So next song, Won't Tell. And this is on my top 3 songs of the album. So this is exactly what I was talking about. This is where I wanted, the band is very, it's just very welcoming, and the whole sound, the full band sounds great. The guitar sounds awesome. And Eddie is not like the notes come easy, the melodies come easy, and he's just in a sweet spot. And this is where like I got huge U2 vibes.
Yes, I wrote the same thing about the guitar towards the end.
Yes, and it has this big hug type of like, or arms wide open type of feel to it that you get when you would watch. I picture U2, like you just see like singing Joshua Tree and have this big landscape across this 150 meter
Especially
meter
in
screen.
The chorus.
Just seeing landscapes just pass you by, and you're just, won't tell, or I don't, whatever. This is good. The band is just so full. Like the ending, I think the strings come in, or it's just full.
This is great. This reminds me a lot of Sirens from Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
And when that song came out, it was one of the prominent singles for Lightning Bolt.
Yes.
I think it was after Mind Your Manners, but
and I love
I'm
Sirens.
Not sure. Yeah, when Sirens came out off of Lightning Bolt, like I was hoping that we would get a lot more music like that from Pearl Jam on Lightning Bolt, and then certainly on Gigaton, and we didn't really get a lot of that. This feels right in that vein, and this is a perfect song, I think, for the time and place where the guys are at in their late 50s and 60s. And this point in the record, so this is the 5th track. 2 of the first 4 were singles that had been released, so we had heard them before. Like when I listened for the first time, like right here at the start of Won't Tell, when we got in the first chorus, like that's when I first started getting really excited about this record and really excited about what was coming, because this song was perfect. And something that I gathered even through the studio recording of this on the album, like I can feel a lot of gratitude in the way that the band is playing. Like I got a lot of that throughout this record, and just like the wisdom that they've accrued over the years, they're sharing it with us, and the gratitude I think that they have to still be playing and still being an outfit together and making their 12th album and sharing it with millions of people who really, really love and identify with them still. And I felt that a lot on this song, especially towards the end, and just kind of that outro. They were masterful, this album, I think, with how they closed out most of these songs.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Talking about where they are in their career, and not that the end is coming, but like when you get those middle albums and you're just kind of churning them out because like that's, next up for the label or something. I think about talking with John at the Social Act band, and they're like, this is our last go. Like we got this double album coming out, and we are putting everything we have into it, because when we're done, like we know we're not going to release another album, and they're pulling out sounds and they're making it so full, and it's you can really feel the gratitude, like you said, in it. And that's kind of what I get from this Pearl Jam album. You just it sounds so much more like grateful for the career, just a little sentimental, and it's awesome, and it really does have this warm feeling to it. Like I said, it's not this driving craziness that we were expecting.
And I love that, like, I felt those feelings as you did listening to Won't Tell. And then you move to the 6th track, which is Upper Hand. And some of the lyrics, they hammer that and just bullseye that immediately. And some of the lyrics are, the distance to the end is closer now than it's ever been. Road we traveled far, all the lights and sights we saw, no room left on the pages. We filled them up and painted some. Though the book, it may never be read, by anyone but me. And I hope people are smiling, and I hope that today, every day is grand. And to me, this feels like
great Pearl Jam lyric.
The last Pearl Jam album. Great Pearl Jam lyric. And like, I had a moment with this song lyrically where like I was sitting there listening to it in 2024, and I was like, how cool is it that this is the same person, the same band that 31 years ago on Versus were screaming at us to delight in our youth. And here they are now with all of their experiences as people, as fathers, as husbands, as musicians, as friends. And they're here to kind of share those experiences now in the same way that they kind of galvanized everybody that, when they were in their 20s, all of their fans were in their 20s, about youth, like, fuck getting old. Like this is, we're young now and we've got our energy. And it just goes to show you how like you grow along with a band. And I think this one's really cool. And I think it addresses a lot of what must be on the minds of a lot of fans of the band too, in the sense that they've grown with them, and, they're in their 50s and 60s now. And It was just a really cool moment that I had with this one. And instrumentally, like Upper Hand's a great song. Like this is the sweet spot of the record for me. I think like tracks like 5, 6, and 7 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Those lyrics that you read are great. Because it does feel like, I talk about body of work and what you do in your lifetime, and like, you can't say with certainty that they've done it all, but like they have played everywhere in the world. They played all around. They played the dive bars. They played the huge stuff. They've had the records. They've had hits. They've had slumps. Like they've covered everything. So they're making music. Of course, there's money to be made, but like at the same time, they don't need the money. So they're making music because it means something to them. And I think that comes through in this album way more than Gigaton and the stuff that we were like, it was like, okay, let's get back to like, why do we love making music? Like, let's do that.
Yeah.
And they're playing, it's like this very uplifting, guitar riffs. Like this has a great ending to it. Again, I mean, they pretty much end all the songs with this manner, like on a high note.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's really nice.
And this song ties in a lot, I think, to a lot of what Ed wrote about in the early 90s with struggling with fame. And you've got songs like Corduroy, Not For You. And, a part of the chorus is, I apologize, so sorry about the timing, but something that I've never had was the upper hand. And it's kind of that realization that like, you can't control a lot of things and you have to live in the world despite not having that control. But, when you make that realization, it frees you up, and it's kind of a dichotomy there. And I just thought it was just a really beautiful song. And like, this was the point where I started to think it was safe.
I
for
recommitted my life to Jesus better.
That was the thing. Like I was so excited for this album.
Strayed away for years, and now I am back.
I'm back. It feels great to be back. And like, this is the point in the album where I started to feel the same inspiration and hit that same part inside of me that a lot of the earlier music did. And I was like, okay, like I was excited for this for a reason in their delivering. And it made me unbelievably happy.
And that takes us to your favorite song. Am I wrong? This is your favorite,
right? Song.
This is up there for me. This is easily top 3. I love it. Waiting for Stevie, track 7.
How about this guitar tone at the beginning?
Oh, it's awesome.
So I was listening, and Upper Hand ends, and I was like, wow, like that just kind of hit me. And then like I like jumped in my chair when the guitar started for Waiting for Stevie. I was like, this is exactly
Soundgarden.
I was like, this is just what I've been waiting for. Like it kind of sounds like Searching with My Good Eye Closed, like the guitar tone there. And then like, I'll tell you, for like any issue that I had with the melody on like React, Respond, or at other points, like they fucking nailed this song. Like the verses and the chorus are just absolutely amazing. And like this one, I mean, I've got a big smile on my face talking about it right now. Like this is the song from Pearl Jam that I've been waiting for years.
Yeah, and when Eddie lets it belt out, it's right in his sweet spot. He sounds great the entire way. And I mentioned U2 a few times, but they really have this I don't know if it's like 90s alternative rock type of like, it's like I said, maybe it's like more like end of the 90s, 2000s, where it's almost like, I don't know, I think of like OK Go or some bands that like, it's a very full sound and it just fills you up. And and not saying that bands aren't doing that now, but it's a way different like scene, obviously. So this is like, they're just beautiful, like kind of old, I don't want to say classic rock, obviously, because it's not classic rock, but beautiful, like taking me back 25 years ago, like hearing rock on the radio type of thing. And this song was one of those things where like, he like comes on the radio, you're like, hell yeah, like I got 5.5 minutes here. You're going to take me on a journey and they're going to jam it out at the end and I can count on it.
Yeah, and this is just such a cohesive effort, and I love that like the middle of this album was reserved for the big songs with big ideas. Yeah, like this is we've been waiting for Stevie. And yeah, this is just, I can't get over how much I love this song. And I love the drumming in this song. I love that Mike kind of joins the party at the end of this. And it's just, it's the perfect big song for Pearl Jam. Like I think it's like their biggest feeling song since maybe Amongst the Waves. Like on Gigaton they tried it with a song called Retrograde and it just like didn't hit the same way. I mean, this one just kind of like you feel like the vastness of the world on this, and
Mike cleans it up with the solo.
Yeah,
like.
exactly. Like I'm listening to the song as we're talking about it, and I just got to that point. It's like you've got this like big arcing thing, and then Mike's solo just like pierces through that and kind of brings you back. And I have to say, I had this on in the background, like I wasn't looking at like the progress bar for how long the song was taking and how much I had left. And the song, for all intents and purposes, ends around like 4 minutes and 55 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever. And it's kind of got that false ending. And then the part at the end where he's like, "Be mighty, be humble, be mighty humble." That like made me a little emotional, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. So it's classic kind of Pearl Jam to come back with this like dreamlike 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You're in your room and you're fucking, and it's like an older version, like we talked about. It's be humble, be mighty, mighty humble.
And this reminds me a lot of the stuff that he did on the album he did with the Earthlings. Like he had a song called On My Way that kind of had an element of this. And this ties directly into those feelings that I had of just like the wisdom that they're sharing, the gratitude they have to still be here. And this one kind of really got me in my feels, but I didn't have long to do that, because as soon as this one ends, you go to Running. And I love that choice they made of like kind of putting everybody in that space where they're like thinking very existentially. They just had this huge song, and then Ed, gives a lesson, be mighty, be humble, be mighty humble. And then immediately they go into Running, the 8th track, which was a single. It's like they give you no time to reflect on. It's like, just kidding. Like we're hopping right back into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this song, favorite part. No, not favorite part. I can say that, but it's a quick one. It's 2:20. This quick hitter. They come in. Ed kind of, he gets some shouts in the middle, and that's good energy. He says the F word. I mean, he is. They're unleashed here.
He's pissed.
They're unleashed for a quick, 2-minute rant.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, so this was the second single. I don't love the chorus, again, in the same critique that I personally have of a song like React Respond. Like, I just don't really jive well when Ed just like yells like a couple of words that are like 1 or 2 syllables a piece.
Very sharp.
Yeah, and like the same thing. So like the first 2 singles, my enthusiasm for this record went down considerably after I heard Dark Matter and then I heard Running. I was like, oh shit, like it's gonna be something like this. But now that like I've heard it in the context of the record in the same way that I spoke about Dark Matter earlier, I appreciate this one more. And in a way, like they're kind of covering all of their bases in the sense, because like there's people that want Pearl Jam to only make music that sounds like this, that sounds like Mind Your Manners-y or like Spin the Black Circle. And this serves that purpose on this record. Yeah.
And then, the last 30 seconds, they let McCready loose. They let him bring the song back, bring it back to home for all the people that need it, and they do a great job. So
these songs,
it's a solid song.
Yeah, this one at the end, like live when Mike is just going nuts and Matt is pounding the drums. This is gonna rock.
Yeah, definitely. Matt, the drums are really strong too.
Yeah, this one's gonna absolutely rock.
All right, next one. I'm sure if we were talking to Cafaro, he would call this one Nothing Special, but it is called Something Special, and a great deviation to some of the rhythms that they had. It's kind of like not swing. What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like, it's not country either, but it has this like,
I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like airy and just kind of light.
It's kind of loopy almost. I don't know.
It's just
like you just bob your head. Yeah, we're both bobbing our head. It's like
just back and forth, back and forth.
Like you definitely would hear this in a dive bar in Alabama or Birmingham or Lexington or somewhere I've been where the guy's like, I'm covering.
Yeah. This one. The first note that I put, I was like, every aging band deserves to put a song like this on the record, like just to like mail one in like this. And like I was like, this is a good palate cleanser after Running. And then like listening to the lyrics, like This song is absolutely adorable. From what I understand, this is kind of written like towards Ed's daughters, and just kind of like a message from father to son. And just to read some of these lyrics, and it's okay should this life knock you down, the twisted wheel, you know it keeps on spinning round. Bet on yourself, your number's oh so special. And when it gets fucked up and you need a helping hand, do it to yourself. You're not the type to need a man, but if you find one, he better know you're damn special. I thought that was cute. And then my favorite part at the end is if the night grows long and you're not feeling loved, I will be there, and not because it's my job. I work for free because you're both so special. And once again, like just like point of growth in the journey that we've traveled, like not only have the band all grown up and have had children and families, like everybody listening, I feel like most Pearl Jam fans are in their mid 40s or 50s or 60s or whatever. And a lot of them have families too. And just what a cool thing to get from the band that you connected with when you were an angsty 20-year-old. They're really with you throughout the seasons of life. And you have a song like this for the next season.
Yeah. And it's not quite, Mike comes in with not quite a slide guitar part, but it has this like, I said, it's like this country ballroom type of swing guitar to it. And
yeah,
it's much different than the rest of the album, and it's a good reprise. And it's a solid song. I can see this one growing on me for sure.
More good harmonies on this one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Simple and complex.
Yeah. And I think this is one that I hope fans connect with this, in the same way that, I'm sure Ed's family is connected with this one. This is a special song, and
something
I think
special.
This song is something special. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, we're coming down to the last two here.
Yeah, we are.
We have Got to Give as the penultimate track on the album. And this one starts off very, very quiet as we kind of move into,
You've got like 25
mid-level
seconds of...
Yeah, like it's like a mid-level, what's the word, tempo.
It's like Doesn't Remind Me by Audioslave, the beginning almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm getting a lot of Tom Petty, a lot of like Heartbreaker vibes, and I'm here for it. I'm always here for it.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I do too.
Great.
Like I said, this kept me in for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think vocally this song plays to his strengths, to Ed's strengths so well. I mean, he has those points where he hits it really well, but the melodies are just absolutely on point in this song. I love the fact that it starts with an acoustic guitar and then kind of everything else joins in. And I love the fact that the acoustic guitar doesn't go away throughout. It's that kind of common thread from the bare bones beginning of this song to the end. I mean, this song sounds really triumphant. I mean, you've even got some piano in at the end. And it's just a really, really wholesome, holistic effort from the band. And there's, on this one, there's a lot more lyrical content on this one too that I think ties into a lot of the themes here. But yeah, I just can't get over how good Ed sounds on this one. Like, I mean, especially into the bridge and into the outro of this one, it's a really, really strong performance.
Yeah, the bridge is solid. I mean, that's, the Eddie Vedder that everybody grew up with, once he started transitioning and started doing the, I don't know, those interludes where, you're just always in wonder and thinking, and he found that, multiple times in this album. And that is, like I said, that's what I want Eddie to do for me these days. So
yeah,
thank you, Eddie Vedder. You know,
this is another one that like I feel like could be just as at home on Yield as it is on this one. I mean, Yield came out in 1998. I mean, there's elements of this band that are always changing and evolving, but there's just something when they hit it. There's just something timeless about it, and this is really cool to get a song like this. And I love Mike's simple yet effective guitar at the end.
Yep,
ties everything together. It really ties the room together.
Yes, exactly. He comes in and he just, that's why they bring in the closer, dude. They bring in Mariano Rivera
coming out of the bullpen to set him down.
Seventh inning, they're like, hey, we need you for the 8th and 9th. We need you for the 9th, and he comes in and just
As I was listening to the end of this song, I felt like it could have been the final song on the album. Like just the way that it sounded, I felt like it was just the culmination of so many different things that the band did great on this record. And then I was a little disappointed before I got to Setting Sun that like there was another song after this, because I was like, oh, like this was such a good spot to end it. And then we got to Setting Sun, and you've got like a pretty entirely different vibe. But I suppose with an album with a track title such as Setting Sun, it's got to be the last song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and artists definitely, you know, if you're going to open up the way they do with was it Scared to Fear, and this is a really good closer, and it's kind of like when the Foo Fighters ended their album with Rest.
Yeah.
You see it a lot where the last song is kind of like it's a reflective state, and you know, I'm sure, you know, it's a metaphor of Setting Sun, and it kind of fits to be the final one, and it does that. It gets you just kind of relaxed, and you can just hear some solid musicianship at play.
Yeah, this is
Quiet.
This is a really pretty song. I love the lyrics in this song. It's just a beautiful, I suppose, a love song, or just a song to somebody that you care about. And I love the lyric. They say in the end, everything will be okay. If it's not okay, well, then it ain't the end. And that's just, once again, like, I mean, these lessons and these ideas that we're getting from this band, how much ground we've covered with this band over the last 30 years. It's just really special. And this is just a perfect song. Like, once I heard this one, I was like, okay, like, please forgive me for thinking that Gotta Give, like, should have been the final one.
Yeah, this one ties the room together. This one brings it all back. You get in your feels, and then they have that, just like a natural slow build to the end of the song. It gets a little louder, the drums get a little louder, you know, more, and they just kind of drive it out. They drive into the sunset, into the setting sun, you know?
Yeah.
Could it be the last song that we ever get from them? Who knows?
Who knows? And like, we could chat about that once we finish up the song by song and thoughts about the album, because I'm sure we both have opinions about it. But I think like finishing this song, you know, as you kind of get a change in the bridge here, and it kind of becomes more of like a Pearl Jam song. But like, I think Ed, in the way that he wrote a lot of these songs, he really leaned into that like petty Springsteen-y type thing of just like the American singer-songwriter tradition, which I thought was really cool, because he's long been fans of a lot of musicians like that, and it's cool to see that shine through here. And you know, he's given, you know, the band and everything is just like, he has the space to do that, and on a song like this, it's just perfect. And I love, you know, everything that I loved about the end of Got to Give, they kind of bring those elements into the end of this song, Setting Sun. And it's just a big song, and it harkens back to things that I loved about, you know, songs towards the middle of the record, namely Waiting for Stevie. And it does kind of feel like just the perfect bookend, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the singer-songwriter point, I've been thinking about this a lot, listening to a lot of Kurt Weill, and thinking about like John Prine or Townes Van Zandt and Jackson C. Frank, these guys, and like I would appreciate Eddie Vedder stepping into that role. And I'm not saying he needs to drop the band. You know, there's still like a band element that is great, but his lyrics are still beautiful, and his you know, the simple melodies that we get in this song and all that is just great. It's really strong songwriting, and not that I don't like when younger artists do that and go quiet, but like, you know, it's a natural progression to a musician's career to start out like high energy, high kind of weird, doing all this thing, and at the end, like, you have this wisdom that you are given throughout all your years, and it's your turn to kind of pass it on. And like,
it's the same way that you earn the calluses on your hands, you know? It's kind of, it's an achieved status.
Yeah, it's like everything. I mean, it's a lot of things that we talk about. It's like, if you didn't do it, like, don't speak on it. And then when you've done it, like, you know, then I want to listen because you've been through it. So now, like, I mean, Eddie Vedder, like I said, he's basically done it all. So now when we hear him talk about stuff, there's authority behind it. And it's not just him, like, you know, guessing and projecting about what it might have been like. I mean, it's, you know, it's very real experiences. So I think there's if we're talking about moving forward, I think there is plenty of space for him to continue writing.
He's an artist.
If you're listening out there, like, it does not need to be old Pearl Jam. You can do, you know, go completely different, go solo, and just like And I thought about his solo soundtrack for Into the Wild a lot for this, and I kind of thought a few things could fit on that album, and kind of fit into something like that. And as everybody knows, we love that album and all this stuff there. So yeah, if he would go into more music like that, I think we'd all very much appreciate it.
Yeah. And I love that he hasn't shied away, certainly on this record, he hasn't shied away from that spot as kind of like an elder statesman who has experiences to share. And the outro to this song is just really, really beautiful. May your days be long till kingdom come. May our days be long before kingdom come, and so on. And then the final lyrics, we could become one last setting sun, or be the sun at the break of dawn. Let us not fade. Let us not fade. I mean, talk about like putting a bow on those feelings of gratitude and experience that you felt all throughout this record, and just kind of that it puts into perspective the road that they've been on, and kind of, the road you're on and where you go. Like, it really is up to you. Like, it could be the end or it could be the start of a new day. And you have that ability within yourself, and just like the perfect spot to end this record, and the culmination of really so much anticipation for me personally, and it really left me exactly, I think, where I'd hoped to be after this record.
Look at that, Chris getting sentimental. He's
yeah, man.
We're thankful here. Yeah, I was thinking about other albums that have been released by bands that are getting older, and obviously we did one for the Foo Fighters release that was in 22, I think. And
I think so. Or
that's one I listened to that album and I had similar thoughts. I was like, wow, this is a really good album. Where's it going to go? And like 2 years down the road, that album has moved up, and I listen to it a lot. I have it downloaded, and it comes up, and I love those songs. I mean, it's a really, really strong album. And I see this album doing the same. Like in 2 years, I think the songs I'm going to have to listen to them more, and it's going to have a much higher place in my, circulation. Yeah. And that's great. I love albums. Like, I just think this one's going to age well, and not every album does, but this has the components to just be really solid. I mean, a couple live performances here, get connected to the songs a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Study the lyrics a little bit, and we're going to enjoy this one for moving forward for sure.
Yeah. It's so exciting. Like, it's out, it's ours now, and
right.
it's our chance to develop experiences with it. And obviously, it goes without saying, we get to develop lore around these songs and what they mean in our own lives, and the experiences that we have when certain songs are playing. Like, I'm envisioning this summer, it's gonna be some drive somewhere, we're waiting for Stevie's on, and like we're in the car, like going to see some pals or something, and it just hits. I'm so excited.
I just finished a long drive, and I was like, Setting Sun happened to come on as my last 5 minutes in the drive.
Yeah, like, and it's just, and like who you're gonna think of when you hear these songs. And I'm so excited to develop that relationship with this music. And honestly, like, if you go back to like when we started the page, like in 2016, like here we are, like over 8 years later, like it's so cool that like we have something like this to be excited about and to connect to.
Mm-hmm. And just like many album reviews go, I think we develop a greater appreciation for the album as we talk about it. It's like all of a sudden we find ourselves like, man, like, let's run it back. I think I'll have a lot better stuff to say, because it's just, it means more already.
Yeah. And well, you learn more about it through discussion, and I'm excited to do that with this album, talking about it with people on the page. And the day actually this comes out, we're going to be on Mark Hopkins's show At Home with Mark, talking about this record. And like, that's how you develop your relationship with music too, is, sharing in it with people. And as evidenced by the smile that's been on my face since about track 5, like talking about this has made me like it a lot more.
Yeah. So, when you have an album that comes out, like, and this is an 11-track album, like, how many tracks do you think need to hit for you to be like, okay, I'm coming back? Like, is it 50%? Like, if you have 5 out of 10 songs, like, is that going to make the cut? Like, I feel like,
in the sense that 7, like, what's the number that like, I'll just go and listen to those songs?
Well, what's the cutoff of like I'm just gonna let it roll and I'm gonna push through some of the. There's a few albums where you're just like I just need these 3 songs or whatever.
Yeah, and just like put them on a playlist and get
Yeah,
to
like
them
is
that
this
way.
to the point where it's like we're going front to back every time here?
I certainly will for a while. Like I've added some of these to the playlist that I'm keeping just for like the last couple of months of shit that I'm kind of into lately. But yeah, this is going to be a front to back. And for me, like, yeah, if at least half the record is like, oh yeah, I want to listen to that again, then like you need to listen to the whole thing. And the songs that you like can teach you a lot about the songs that maybe you don't like as much, and you can develop an appreciation for them because they're, all the songs on a record frame one another. And I think this album does that really, really well. And it's a good reminder of that.
Mm-hmm. So that is Dark Matter by Pearl Jam.
Man. So I said it was like a 7.2, 7.4 out of 10. Like I honestly, like it's in the 8s for me for sure.
You can bump it up.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bump it up. Yeah. I
think
don't know.
so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be an overreaction. It depends what you're putting it up against. If you're putting it up against every album all time, maybe not. If you're putting it up at just Pearl Jams or just Expectations, I think an 8 in the 8s is fine. Like
that's the thing. You have to judge it against like the band and the time and place and the expectations you have for them now. Because the problem the Pearl Jam fans make all the time, and there's so many of them on the page that are upset with this album because they're judging it against 10.
Like you could definitely
can't do that.
Yeah, like you could definitely, if we're talking like grading, I mean, you could argue that this is not an A, but you can't argue that this is a C.
No, like, you definitely can't.
Like you definitely, like you can't make that argument. If you were to tell me like this is not A+ work, like fine, I understand that, but like there's no way that I'm gonna go lower than a B-. Like this, this is for sure a really solid album.
Yeah, I would. This thing's at least a B+ for me. B+, A- range. And it's great. And the more I listen to it, the less of an issue the drums become. There's really only a few tracks that's an issue for me, and that's
just don't stand out.
Yes,
that's the problem. Like you're not going to be affected in a negative way the more you listen to it. But it's not like every time I'm hearing McCready. Like the drums are not like sticking out like that. So
yeah, it's just it's not a negative. I think it's just a missed opportunity that could have elevated it a little bit more for me.
Because that's what they talked about.
Exactly, that's what they talked about. They said it was the Matt and Mike show.
So we'll see. Maybe live. We're gonna have to hear him live because
hopefully live, and like who knows, but like because this is the perfect chance, hopefully, that like everybody can finally like be forced to shut the fuck up about the Pearl Jam drummer thing and realize that Dave Abruzzese is not coming back to the band. It's been 20 years, so shut the fuck up about it and enjoy one of the greatest drummers on the planet who's in Pearl Jam right now, and his name is Matt Cameron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Yeah. Holding on to hope for Dave Abruzzese to come back.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he should have been inducted to the Rock Hall of Fame if I gave a shit about the Rock Hall of Fame.
Right.
That should have happened, but like, just give it a rest. Pearl Jam is, Matt's been in the band since 98. I mean, that's a long time. Like, there's people who were born in 98 who have children now and families and houses and 401ks and shit. So like, just like relax. The last point I have about this album, or last discussion point, I guess, does this feel like the last Pearl Jam album to you?
When you put it like that, the last Pearl Jam album, yes. I would say that this feels very like, let's put everything we have into this. Let's get something good. And then like, I think everybody's going to continue making music, but they may not be the same outfit. And I hopefully we'll get some Eddie Vedder stuff, or maybe just offshoot bands of playing with some people that they enjoy playing with. But
yeah, they've done.
I mean, I can obviously see them playing and making more albums and stuff. But
right.
I think this would be like, I'd be fine with either one too.
This would be a beautiful conclusion to their studio album run. But it's such a double-edged sword because I don't want it to be because I love the band, but like I think it's going to be challenging to do something that's as like perfect for the end as this album. This one, it just makes sense. But that being said, I mean, they're older than they were certainly, but they've got many great years of playing and recording and performing ahead of them if they so choose. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Avocado was 06, Backspacer 09, 13 for Lightning Bolt, and then 7 years until Gigaton. And this was 4 years after Gigaton. So they're certainly going at their own pace. I mean, who knows? I mean, could it be 2028 that we get another Pearl Jam album? Who's to say? I mean, by that point, you get into your mid 60s or early 60s, and you end up maybe doing different things. But I mean, this is just, I guess, so much. It doesn't really matter so much if it's the last one, because it's here and we have it now, and it's ours now.
So one thing I just looked up. So Eddie Vedder's 59 and Dave Grohl is 55. So they're essentially the same age, but it seems like Dave has so much more music in him. And like the way that he, like I said, I heard that last album, was like, he's got more. Like that dude, he is going to be making a ton of music for the rest of his life. And I mean, Eddie Vedder just feels different. I feel like he definitely has lyrics. He has like words and books in him, and we'll see what route he goes with it. But there's a different feeling between, say, like these elder statesmen. So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I just looked, and Jeff and Matt are both 61, so they're the oldest in the band, if you're not counting Boom Gasper, who I believe is in his late 60s, or he might even be 70. But
I hope he's in his 70s. Well, I don't know why, but
yeah, just the old. Yeah, he's 71. February 3rd, 1953 was his birthday. Kenneth E. Gasper.
Emmett, oh my gosh.
Kenneth E. Gasper.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you all for listening to our reaction to Dark Matter. And we will be talking about it more on the page. Like I said, we're going to be talking with Mark Hopkins, and I believe that will surface itself if you follow the page. So check that out for a little bit more, just a different talk, a different conversation.
Yeah.
And we're just going to grow with this album together.
Yeah, we will. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked this episode. I hope you liked the new album. And I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say about it, as this discussion is just getting started. But welcome to the world, Dark Matter. Ethan, this was a lot of fun. I imagine we'll be chatting about this album a lot in the future.
Yeah, we will. So the songs of the week are going to be this album. That'll be on there. So go check it out. And we will be back next week. Same time, same taste, same place for episode 162.
Same taste.
Same taste. Getting you through your work week drive.
Yep. Same time next Monday, knuckleheads.
All right, guys. Rock and roll.
Good night, Canada.